All right. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here, and people are starting to filter into the conversation today. But hello, my name is Rob Catalano. I'm with WorkTango and excited to share more about our platform today on Demo Day. Thank you, HR.com, for setting this up. What you're seeing on the screen is actually what we call our passion statement, is to improve work lives, and work is in parentheses because, for better or worse, we spend a lot of our waking time at work. I'm super passionate about this. And I only have 30 minutes today to share how we live that passion with our platform and how we share that with our customers. So I'm going to just dive right in, share a few details, and then get into the demo of what our platform is all about. So you might be thinking, what is WorkTango? We basically call ourselves an employee experience platform that has two major components. One is recognition and rewards, and the next is surveys and insights. Now, these aren't just features, right? This isn't just a survey feature that sits on your HRIS platform, for example. These are wide and deep platforms that organizations find a lot of value in driving results. Now, many companies use both, right? When they use both, we see net promoter scores in the 80s, which is world class. But you can also just start with one. So some of our customers just use our recognition and rewards platform. Some just use our surveys and insights platform. And even then, our net promoter scores are world class and in the 60s as well. But I'm going to show you both today at a high level and the time that we have. Now, last thing I want to do before the demo is just give you some details and information that it works, right? When organizations leverage our platform for these types of activities, they see results like these, right? Reduction in turnover, increases in employee engagement, right? And net promoter score. But not only the HR metrics we look at, it saves money. It drives customer service scores. And I could send you more case studies. Feel free to reach out at any time. But when there's so much impact in terms of recognizing your employees and listening to them, which is what our platform does. And one thing I'd love to share is maybe your eyes glaze over when you look at stats, but when you have an engaged workforce that's recognized and you're listening to them, you don't see this type of behaviors, right? And this is what we don't want to see in our organizations, right? We don't want to see our employees conducting these types of things. So what I'm going to talk about today is get into the two demos so you can get a good flavor of what it's all about. But we're always available after to be able to dive deeper. So never hesitate to reach out. So I'm going to start with the recognition and rewards platform. I want to set the table for you. I can show you an hour demo, right? But I want to, in a quick 12 minutes, show you what our recognition and reward platform is all about. But there's three key elements to understand. First is we help companies build a culture of recognition. How do you automate the programs you already have? And I'll share some of those ideas. How do you build a culture of peer-to-peer recognition, right? And how is it not always top down, but you have the whole organization driving recognition in your company because recognition is important. What gets recognized gets repeated, and it drives engagement and retention. The second big part is if you're recognizing people, you can automate the reward process, but also complement recognition with rewards that are meaningful to people. We've all received rewards that we don't really like, and it actually ruins the recognition moment. I'll show you how we help companies through that process. And lastly, it's a bit unique to WorkTango is what we call incentives. So it's other behaviors you want to see that drive business results and how our platform can drive those in your company. So I'll dive deep into what it looks like right now. So I'm switching over to our platform. There's a lot here, so I'll walk you through some of the key elements to give you a good understanding. What I'll start with is we help automate a lot of those recognition and reward type initiatives that companies run today, typically manually. Good example on the right here is things like celebrations. So automate your years of service programs, automate your celebrating birthdays. Immediately, what would happen is, we can ensure that the individual gets an email from the organization. The manager gets notified in advance. People in the organization can come to the platform and see who's celebrating and how many years are they and prompt them to congratulate those folks. And whether it's just a recognition or it's tied to a reward, right? It's the ability to increase those levels of celebrations. Another example of what our platform helps automate and support are things like awards. So maybe you have an employee of the month or employee of the quarter, or whose internet fails in meetings the most. Like you can have any type of award or nomination process, which our platform runs very easily as well, all in one place. And a major big component of what our customers leverage and see our platform for is enabling that peer-to-peer recognition. So to give you a little flavor of what this is it allows anyone in the organization at any time to recognize others for what matters in your company. So for example, imagine on your mobile device in our app or in the platform or in Slack or in Teams, being able to recognize another colleague, sharing how it impacted you, maybe having a little bit of fun with it, right? And we like to drive a little bit of a culture of memes and excitement and just to build a really meaningful recognition. And then choosing a core value. Does it tie to a core value in your organization? And maybe having some fun and adding different skills that people might have as well. I'll get to the points part in a moment, but the idea of our peer-to-peer recognition is you can recognize folks with rewards or without rewards. And the idea is that if you always have rewards attached to your recognition, it's finite, right? You can only give out so much budget to people, but you can give free recognition that's social, that lasts all year, can happen all the time. Now, I'll get into the points in a moment, but I want to identify that with these types of programs, whether it's peer-to-peer recognition or your celebrations or your awards, this all goes to one exciting news feed that shares this information with your organization. As you can see, the company awarded Mavis their 5-year anniversary, right? Or that recognition from Angela to Gus was very meaningful. But what's amazing about the platform is you turn these one-to-one recognition moments into one-to-many moments. People can see these on the news feed or in Slack or Teams or on their mobile device. They can interact with them and give them high fives. They can comment on them, right? You start building that culture of recognition and amplifying what's really important. It's not just one-to-one that Gus knows what's great, but everyone else knows what's great and what gets recognized in your organization. And what's great about this news feed is if you want to see the whole company, you could do that. Or I, for example, just look at my reporting chain, right? Every week, I'll just dive in and see what's happening on my team or in my country or in my department. Some of our customers that don't have people in front of computers every day share these recognitions on TVs to build that level of exposure. So as you can see, there's just so many ways to automate that recognition component. Now, I want to get back to the rewards element. The way our rewards work is we actually allow people to have points as currency to be able to redeem rewards that are really important to them. And you saw that in the recognition, but you can give points for awards, you can give points for celebrations or peer-to-peer recognition. But what we do is you can identify how many points you want your team to be able to send out each quarter, for example. Some of our customers give every employee access to give actual reward budget out. Some give more for managers and less for employees. Some give none to employees and only executives. So you can structure this any way you want. But the idea is you have one currency in one way, in one place to earn these rewards, and then you can earn them and redeem for wonderful things. Now, I'll get to the redeeming in a moment, but I want to share one other way that's unique with WorkTango to actually allow employees to earn rewards, but also help you save money and consolidate your budgets. And this is what we call our incentives platform. What this does is it allows you to drive and incentivize other things that matter to your organization and keep all these managed in one place. For example, for HR, maybe you want new employee referrals, right? That's way cheaper than having to get an agency to recruit you new talent. And the way this works is this can really be anything. It could be new employee referrals. It could be L&D initiatives like completing an online course. And these could either um, be done without any approvals whatsoever. So for example, when I work out, my Apple Watch knows I worked out. It tells the incentives platform I automatically earn points, right? Because we're driving a wellness culture here. Or it can have approvals. For example, completing an online course, earn 200 points, and I have to give evidence, right? Maybe the certificate that I had to be able to share this, and someone at the organization will approve. So again, it's a really great way to drive results in your organization. But what I just shared was more HR lens. It could really be anything in your company. It could be safety. It could be hitting the sales goals. And what's really impressive about the incentives platform is you can actually have different people in your organization manage them, approve them, and have separate budgets attached to them. So when I mentioned earlier, a lot of organizations that save dollars and budget, many companies have these programs just happening in different parts of the organization. There's different budgets. Some of them aren't even tracked. They're sitting on credit cards. But when our customers consolidate them into one place, that's where you start seeing impact. That's where you see cost savings and one place where employees know where they can get recognized and rewarded for what's really important to you. What's great is we have a library of 50 different incentives, but you can create anything that you'd want on your own with any rules, right? Repeatable, how many times people can access it. So it's a really great way to drive activity. The other thing I wanted to share is, you know, I talked a bit about recognition and reward and the incentives, but rewards are also really a big part of how our employees and customers interact with our technology. And there's two types of rewards that we offer. One is what we call our marketplace, and the other is what we call our company rewards. I'll start with marketplace for a moment. The marketplace is basically anything that you can think of. So for example, maybe it's the newest Apple iPhone 17s, right? Or maybe I want to shop and get things on Amazon or donate to charities because that's meaningful. Or maybe I want experiences or I want gift cards or vacations. It's about making that recognition moment so valuable and a memorable reward experience. And what's great about these is we can use these points and partner with other organizations to be able to provide such a robust reward catalog. We're talking millions of rewards across the globe. I sit in Toronto, so for me, I'm getting tickets to the Toronto Blue Jays game. I hope that they make the playoffs or do well in the playoffs because they just made it, or different concerts happening here. So as you can see, it's a very meaningful experience where I can really get anything at the end of the day. What's great with WorkTango, if you don't have enough points, you can top it up with PayPal or a credit card, right? So people really looking for that reward and want it, they're motivated to do so. Now, the last thing I wanted to say was not only do we have a rewards marketplace, we have what we call a company rewards catalog. And this is really key, right? Some organizations, when you are actually investing in rewards for your employees with a vendor, that $100 reward is sometimes costing you $130. You're paying fees, you're paying markups, right? You're paying other elements to get those rewards to individuals. At Worktango, we don't provide any markup on rewards. We actually have a company rewards catalog where you can give your own dedicated awards. Maybe it doesn't cost you anything to give the best parking spot to an employee, right? Or maybe you have swag like water bottles and shirts with your company logo on it. But our idea is that if you can create an element of your own really personalized rewards, people can use their points to redeem for those as well. And you're not having to spend the dollars on the different rewards that are out there. So there's so many flexible ways that our customers leverage our platform to be able to create this wonderful experience. Last thing I want to say is I talked about recognition, rewards, and incentives, but there's two major underlying foundations that our platform also drives that I don't have time to show you all today, but it's definitely worth calling out because it's super important. The first is how we handle and support leadership enablement. So leaders can go in and see dashboards just for their teams, who they've recognized the most, right? Who's been recognized on their teams? Are there team celebrations coming up, right? Or they can go in and look at different activity or milestones on their teams. So it's just a really great way to make your leaders bought in and support them with information. And then from an admin perspective, an HR level, I mean, I could spend an hour in here. I won't, but there are dashboards for activity attributes, AI insights, user activities, you name it. But there's all the details and reporting and information that you need to be able to see how your program's working, how you can manage budgets, and make this a great experience. So that's really the platform that what I wanted to show for the recognition and rewards platform. So just as a recap, those are the three elements, but it integrates into all your platforms. There's a lot of AI I didn't get to show you today. There's the analytics and dashboards on the back end, and obviously what we focus on from a leadership enablement that really are foundations for these three components. So that's recognition and rewards. Everyone still with me? Anything in the chat? Feel free to ask questions, and the team here is happy to answer anything for you. That's the first part of our platform. The second that I wanted to share today was our surveys and insights platform. And in a similar way of setting the table, I wanted to share with you some high level ideas to understand what it does, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And the first major thing is we help companies ask the right questions with their surveys. And it's not just measuring engagement, it's around the whole employee experience, whether it's onboarding, whether it's development like health and wellness surveys or L&D, right? Whether it's retention, employee engagement, DE&I, or offboarding. And the 3 points I want to make here, one, it's custom. So we have our libraries for everything you see on the screen here, but you can use your own survey questions. You can customize it for your culture. Many companies upload data from their old survey vendors or what they're doing themselves, a SurveyMonkey or Microsoft Forms, so you don't lose your trending. So it can be really custom to you. The second is it's unlimited. You should never have to pay more to understand feedback from your employees. Right, during COVID or return to work or back to work, right? We want to get an understanding of what's working and what isn't. You can use it for whatever you want at any time. We also can automate these things. Imagine your onboarding and exit surveys were automated based on the data we have from your HRIS system. So that's a big part of what we do is we help you ask the right questions whenever it matters for your organizations at your cadence. Some of our customers do monthly surveys, some do weekly, some do quarterly, some do an annual engagement survey, whatever works for you. But the other two major parts of our platform that I'll show you today is second is the aha moments, all the insights and trends and themes and ways we can help you understand where to focus your efforts. And the last is act. Listening isn't enough, right? We want to make sure that we can enable leaders to do something about this, your teams to do something about this. So I'll share these three elements in the demo and platform today. I just saw a question: how successful is company branded swag? Some customers love it. Some don't have it. Some that put it in, it gets used minimally, and some it's probably the most highly redeemed item. So it really depends on the culture when it comes to the recognition and reward. So appreciate that question, Henrietta. So on the surveys platform, I'll switch over to that. I'm not going to show you how a survey works, right? You've seen surveys, but our survey experience is really cool. You can add custom, images of pizza companies that have pizza slices as part of their Likert scale. You can customize that. I'm happy to share more on a future conversation, but I want to get deep into the aha moments and the action. And I'm going to just scratch the surface, but I want to share a few components that I think are important. The first is before I get into all these dashboards, you will be able to filter your results any way that matters to your organization. We actually take the data from your HRIS system, and in real time, you'll be able to see the reports and slice them. Maybe it's by division or by department or by business unit, right? And easily go in and to be able to slice them any way you like. Again, you can choose multiple filters. But one thing we also do is confidentiality is really critical. So we mask data if it doesn't hit a threshold, which is customizable depending on your needs. Now, the reason I want to show this is we can upload that data from your HRIS system. But there's also custom ways that I'll get into the database of how you can provide a different view. What's great about this as well is you choose who gets to see this information. So you can have 1,000 leaders access just their team or their hierarchy, or you might have just heads of divisions or heads of countries. But the reason I want to show you this first is all the reports I show you right now, you could look at them at a whole organization or with one attribute, right? So it allows that level of flexibility in real time. So to give it a little more color of what this could look like, I'm giving you an example of an engagement survey, right? I can go in and immediately see what's the key factor, like my engagement index or my factors, and see what's the unfavorable, neutral, and favorable components. I can also compare it to last time we asked the survey, or compare it to different things. Maybe benchmark it to like industries or countries, or compare it to an attribute. Maybe I just want to show one department compared to the rest of the organization. But it's so simple and easy to see what's working and what isn't in your organization. A really great and unique view, though, is what we call our spread view. This is a really good way and easy way to not having to go in through all the filters and immediately see, for example, by generation, how close is the sentiment for different generations in my organization or any different attribute. For example, traditionalists and Gen Z all the way down, it's pretty similar. That's actually good. We don't want a huge difference in opinion, but we might see that by department or by business unit, there's huge changes. And that allows us to easily go in and understand what's more positive, where are the challenges in different parts of the organization. Now, what's really great, I talked about both of our platforms, they actually integrate data together. So imagine being able to see, is there a correlation of people that are more top recognized in the company in terms of engagement sentiment to people that aren't recognized? And I will tell you, this is usually the case for organizations, right? It's huge impact to validate what's happening in your recognition platform to see the impact correlated to things like engagement or other things that you're measuring. So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways you can look at the data and slice it, but the spread gives you a really interesting understanding of what's working, what isn't, and where there's big gaps in your feedback. Now, there's a lot of different ways and items I could show you, but with the time I have today, I just wanted to show one other report that people find a lot of value in. And it's what's called our heat map. So imagine being able to go in, look by department, and immediately understand where is sentiment high, where is it low, by what factor or what question, and at the top, get an understanding of where there might be smoke before fire or what's really positive, right? So again, it's a really easy way to look at this data. And some of our customers, what they have told me they love the most is you can look at this by changes. So where did the data go up the most, right? Where did it go down the most? It allows you to kind of understand trends versus the absolute data point that you're looking at. Now, there's a lot of other ways to slice this data quantitatively, but qualitatively, we also have some unique ways to understand the sentiment of your employees. So when you have open-ended feedback, we know it's hard to read hundreds or thousands of comments. So we use AI to be able to understand a few things. One, what's the sentiment? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? You can go in and read them all, right? And we all want to, right? We want to go in and read those comments. We have a couple of ways to just tell the story for you, right? What are the themes that are coming up in the actual comments? Easily go in and filter by themes and dive in. Or in one click, get an AI analysis of what's happening. In a nutshell, what's the feedback saying? What are the positives, the negatives, recommended actions? And what's great here is what I'm showing you is this might be the view for you as an HR leader, but if you're a leader of a team and you gave access to a leader to see their dashboards, this sentiment is for their team, right? For what permissions you gave them to see. Maybe it's their team, maybe it's their country. So there's a lot of value here in the way it works. One thing I did want to mention on that point of filtering out results and seeing your teams, the way our platform works is you can give unlimited permissions to anyone in your organizations to do anything you'd want them to do in the platform. So what I mean by that is typically your HR organization may allow you to configure everything, change and update users, create action plans, which we'll get to, and so on. But for each survey type, you can define who can send these surveys, who can see reports, and maybe they can view comments or not, or maybe they can look at specific items. But also, what can they access? Can they access everyone? Is it just their hierarchy? Is it other hierarchy? You can say, I want this one leader to see these 4 countries and do a custom attribute view. And even what are the attributes you want them to see? Maybe it's prudent for HR to look at engagement by DEI metrics, but you don't want to show that to all the other leaders. So as you can see, you can get really custom, even by survey of who gets access to this information. And there's so much power in being able to take those surveys and not HR having to manage all the actions, but automatically get the data and the dashboards I shared with you to each individual leader in your organization if you choose. And the best part is you never have to pay for more, right? Your administrators, you can add as many people as you'd like. So I want to share that from a context level, but we did talk about listening. We talked about the aha and understanding. There's so many other reports, but I did want to talk a bit about action. If your leaders or yourselves are in the platform, in different parts of the WorkTango technology, we will actually recommend actions and learnings based on the feedback specific to those individuals. So if you're a leader with a team of 20, your actions and recommendations are going to be different than another leader. And what we can do is we can not only recommend actions to individuals, they can go in and they can customize them, but we have a whole action planning suite to identify what actions based on what surveys and what factors that we want to take and build that level of accountability. You can assign actions to others if you have that permission. I could see other actions on my team. I can create new ones or look at a library. So such a great way to be able to make sure there's accountability to action for what's happening on your employee listening surveys. And while we're on the topic of action, we also have something very, very unique, what we call WorkTango Coach. Imagine it's basically an AI agent that's helping leaders move the needle of what's important in the organization. We know HR can't coach every leader in their company, right? But our coach can help them at the moment of need. So for example, because I'm on the action planning suite, the WorkTango coach might help someone have a difficult conversation with their team, right? And start having a discussion with that. As an HR leader, you could go in at the reporting level and say, give me the highlights and trends of what's working, what's not working. So AI is making it so much easier to not only help HR see data in a different way, understand employee sentiment, but now it's enabling leaders. Like we're getting to points where you'll be able to upload your own policies, your own information, your own recommendations and leadership ways of your beliefs and how leaders should be acting or your certain policies to be able to drive these types of conversations more specific to your organization. So as you can see, those are the 3 major components that I wanted to share today. Ask, the aha, and act. And at the bottom, it's really true for how we integrate into other parts of your business. So it integrates into your communication tools in your HRIS. A lot of AI, I shared some of it today. The dashboards and analytics, there's a lot more, but I shared you high level what that looks like. And again, a big focus on leadership enablement, right? HR, you can't solve all the world's problems. So how does our technology support leadership enablement? Last thing I did want to say is that what we've seen when organizations are using both platforms together is a lot of impact, right? We're getting more insights, an understanding of our people, who's recognizing others. There's leadership dashboards in our recognition platform to identify which leaders um, are recognizing people in a certain way. Are there higher levels of equality? Are there leadership archetypes that they might be a great leader for specific projects in your organization? But the idea is the platforms, whether it's individually or collectively, are enhancing the ability to get a more complete understanding of your people. And once you have that, the second thing is our action engines can drive results. So whether you're using our leadership action plans or incentives to drive specific things in your organization, we've had many companies see that, career growth scores are low or recognition scores are low. Well, we can drive those actions through some of these items in our platforms. And the idea is when those two things come together, we have so many examples of improved experiences, right? So whether it's, the American Eagle story here, where your recognition scores increased after they launched our platform, but they saw through our survey technology that there was a challenge there, right? It allows you to understand and measure, but also improve the employee experience. And for many of our customers that use both, it's easy because there's one vendor to work with, one login, one data feed, and so on. I've seen one question that came in: are pulse surveys available? Absolutely, right? When I talked about the ask part of it, when it comes to the different types of surveys, you could do a pulse survey for engagement every week if you wanted to. We have some companies that do that. So you can effectively just create as many as you want, whether they're pulse or ad hoc surveys in your organization. So we only scratched the surface today in terms of what the platform can do, but definitely reach out. We can give you a more detailed demo, right? We can answer any questions that you have. I know my team will share a link in terms of if you wanted to book another demo and get deeper into it. I just saw it pop up on the screen there. But really at a high level, my hope is that we shared how we help improve work lives through our technology, how we help drive HR metrics, but also business metrics in your company. And for many organizations, shifting from their current structures, even saving you money in the long run, and also saving not only HR, but our leaders' time as well. So I appreciate the folks that were here today. I thank you so much, and have a great rest of the day. Take care.